Aho's got numbers, drops back, shot right on. Georgiev makes the save. Seth Jarvis with a great A.
3-on-1 shorthanded.
No score out in front. Jordan Martinook on a 3-game goal-scoring streak for the Canes alternate captain. And Carolina goes up 2-0. Now there's Aho. Trying to play it from Rantanen. The Canes will hang on. Chatfield to Aho. Aho leaves it. Necas' shot deflected. Martinook scores! His second of the game, and he's dragged Carolina back into it again. It's 5-4.
Hi, everyone. Adam Gold here with a quickie special Canes Corner podcast after the winning streak comes to an end in Colorado. They lose it 6-4, and we got a bunch of things to talk about. Not a ton of time, but since I was able to watch the game, even though I wasn't working the game tonight, figured why not jump on and we'll chat about it for at least, 20 minutes or so. We're brought to you by the Aluminum Company of North Carolina. If it's for the exterior of your home, you can find it. The Aluminum Company of North Carolina on Hamlin Road in Durham, no place like it. Sammy Hanna and his crew do a great job. You should check them out for all of your exterior home improvement needs. Well, they were not going to win the rest of them. So, and what happened really was you got Nathan MacKinnon in the second period. Some self-inflicted wounds that we can get to. But you give up 5 goals in the period. The fact that you have a chance to win a game when you give up 5 goals in any period is freaking remarkable. But the Hurricanes couldn't get all the way back. They got a goal early in the first 3 minutes of the third period from the great one, Jordan Martinook, but they couldn't get the next one. You almost got the sense that if Carolina could have gotten it to 5-on-5, they probably would have won the thing in overtime the way things have gone for them. But, I mean, it was a wild game. And, we'll go through it, but let's just start at the first. And this is sort of like an outline, and then we'll go back and go through each thing. I tweeted it out. The Hurricanes needed to get more out of that first period. First period was dominant, and they got 1 goal. And the first highlight you heard there coming in was the Seth Jarvis. It wasn't really a 3-on-1 shorthanded. It was more of a 3-on-2, but still, had great golden opportunity to score a goal, didn't get it. And frankly, there were about 4 of those in the first period that Carolina didn't get. And dominant first period, but it's only 1-0. And in that regard, it reminded me a little bit of the St. Louis game where Carolina was all over them. Probably should have scored, and they scored early in that one. Probably should have scored more than the 1, and then you leave yourself vulnerable to a bad second period. And that's what happened. And really, that's what happened tonight. And then in the second period with a 2-0 lead, the game turns on a shorthanded goal. The Shane Gostisbehere pass across. Don't really remember right now who he was trying to throw it to. It might have been Necas, but doesn't really matter. Telegraphed Cale Makar. Now, Makar didn't even worry about a breakaway. He got about top of the circles and just reared back and blasted one past Martin. And that really turned the game for me, because it looked at that point like Colorado was a little flat. And from that point on, Colorado very much inflated. So there was that. We have goalie interference to talk about. I personally, I understand why Rod did it. Spencer Martin was interfered with. But was Spencer Martin interfered with? I'm trying to think of the right word. I can't. I think Nathan MacKinnon was helped into him by Andrei Svechnikov. It wasn't a huge shove, but I think Svechnikov turned him. So, but it sort of worth a try. But once I saw the replay from above, I didn't think that was going to be called. We'll go into greater detail on that coming up. Delay game, puck over glass. I'm not so concerned about whether or not that was a dog pog, but the process. So we'll go through that a little bit because the NHL needs to be better. And then we could talk about the red hot Jordan Martinook. My gosh. So let's get to all of these things as we move on. And thank you very much for hanging out wherever you are. If you're in Australia or Ireland or Saudi Arabia, or let's see where else people have been, Japan, Alaska. Hey, I know several Caniacs who are out in Denver at the Mason Jar at Ball Arena. So let's yes, we're gonna, Hayden, you're right. We are gonna rush ourselves off here and get ready for Monday in Vegas, because I need to sleep for that one. We're not going to be coming to you until about 1:30 that night. Gosh, why are we doing that? All right, let's try to get to it. What I want to do first is go through the 4 goals for the Hurricanes, because there was actually a lot of good things here. And if we could just also agree that it is possible to give up 5 goals, even in a period, and actually play well. I thought Spencer Martin was great tonight. Really, really great tonight. If I was going to fault him on any of the goals, it would be the Rantanen goal that made it 5-3. I thought on that one, he went down too soon and left a lot of the upper part of the net open. But my gosh, he made so many good stops even in the second period that I just can't fault him at all for 5 goals allowed. I thought Georgiev played great too at the other end, and he gave up 4. Now, he was a rebound machine maybe the entire night, but did any of those rebounds cost him a goal? I don't think so. So maybe that's the biggest criticism for Carolina, is not being able to get to those. But I mean, I thought both goaltenders played well, and we had 9 goals tonight. Such was the game. First goal for Carolina, I thought, was just so classic Carolina. It was smart. Jack Drury just dumping the puck into the opposite corner, because then it allowed Staal and Martinook to go get it. I thought initially that Staal at least impacted the play, but I thought he touched the puck. And ultimately, they did give him an assist. But what he really did was he created the opportunity for Martinook to play the puck unencumbered. And he throws a beautiful pass diagonally across the goal mouth to Drury, who, after dumping the puck into the corner, stayed on the ice, because that was a partial change. And he was able to get the goal to make it 1-0. Second goal was, again, typical Staal line created, because they keep the puck in, they get it into the corner. Staal and Jarvis are fighting for it. Puck eventually comes around to Scott Walker. He takes a shot that's deflected into the corner. Jarvis goes to get it, and then he makes a little move, like a little subtle move, creates a little room for himself, and then he finds Martinook like in the slot, but to the left of the goal. And what an incredible finish, but a beautiful pass as well. Carolina's third goal was the Martin Necas power play. I mean, multiple point night again for Necas. So, I mean, it's not a win, but you're not going to win them all. The dude is absolutely, I mean, nuts. 9 straight with a point. By the way, in the 9 games, he's got 20 points. 7 goals, 13 assists in the last 9 games. That's pretty good. I mean, I could be wrong, but I think that's pretty good. Anyway, that power play was trash. And it was the power play after the shorthanded goal. So you knew they were trying to get something going. They couldn't get the puck in the zone. I think they had 4 failed entries before they finally got that one in the zone. And then Necas is the recipient of, not sure if it was Jarvis's pass or whatever. But there you go. It's a power play goal, even though the power play wasn't good. But they needed one, because the power play, I think the power play has been kind of stale last few. Speaking of stale, we'll talk about the line The line combination changes. And then the fourth goal is with the new lines, Aho with Martinook and Necas, which I'm going to say this out loud, I like. And if I were Rod, I'd like to see that combination together. I know Svechnikov, Aho, and Roslovic had been good, but I don't think it's a terrible thing to put Martinook with Aho right now. I really don't. I'm one of those people who does not despise top line Martinook for stretches, especially when he is doing this right now. But Martinook in front of the net, Aho and Necas exchange. It was actually the second exchange because Chatfield was involved in that whole mess there too. And then Necas, I initially thought Aho took the shot. It was Necas' shot that was deflected and was going wide of the net, and Martinook got himself free and shoveled it into the goal. It was inside of 3 minutes into the third period when the Hurricanes made it 5-4. They had a couple of chances after that, but I think Colorado played a really good third period. Carolina played a poor second. As a group, played a poor second period. Not to mention, way too many times shorthanded. But I guess that goes both ways, to be honest. But ultimately, they just played a poor period and got burned for it because Colorado just got absolutely jolted, full of energy with the shorthanded goal. And that was that. All right, let me get to the line changes real quick. In the third period, sent out Staal with Blake and Svechnikov. And was that line on the ice for 2 minutes to start the period? Was that the line that started the period? That was the first time I noticed that we had different lines. I don't know if that line started the period or not. But Staal with Blake and Svechnikov. Then the next line out after those three finally left the ice because they couldn't get out of the zone and they were gassed and they were at altitude. Jackson Blake, looked like he needed a hug. Aho, Necas, and Martinook came out next and scored the goal. Drury with Jarvis and Robinson also dig that line. Big fan. And then Kotkaniemi with Roslovic and Carrier. Like, in many ways, it's similar to what we really have been watching. I mean, obviously, they're all different, but that's four balanced lines that can give you, every one of those lines can score goals. I'm not opposed to that. I'm not opposed to breaking up the Staal-Martinook combination, especially since you've already established that line is going to be one that we need offense from when you put Jarvis on it. So if Rod Brindamore wanted to start the game against Vegas with these combinations, I'm good with it. I really am. I like the mix. I'd love Martinook with Aho and Necas. And right now, I don't think Aho's playing badly at all. I think he's playing well. But we are 13 games into the season, and your best offensive player, your best player, not your best offensive player, your best player does not have a 5-on-5 goal yet this year. So at some point, Aho's going to have to start scoring goals. He's certainly not lacking for offense. He's almost at a point a game, if not at a point a game. So, we don't have to really, it's not like he's been in an offensive famine. He just doesn't have the goals. Only got 3 so far through 13 games. And, Sebastian Aho's got to be first or second on your team in scoring goals, not 8th. So again, I have no problem with that. All right, now let's just quickly talk about where the game turned in a negative way for Carolina, and that's the Gostisbehere pass that was intercepted by Cale Makar. Gostisbehere, in this case, playing the role of Sam Darnold, just a telegraphed pick 6, goes the other way. And not only can't you win a game when you give up 5 goals in a period, it's hard to win a game when you give up a shorthanded goal. But that really I thought, ignited Colorado, because Colorado didn't look good until that mistake. And look, I'm not saying that Gostisbehere needs to be more careful because, time and place, anything like that. He's trying to make a play. But the end result of the mistake is Colorado is now ignited. We saw what happened the rest of the way. Would it have happened anyway? I don't know. But it happened there. And what it reminded me of was the playoff series against Boston in 22. I think it was 22. Yeah, the playoff series against Boston in 22, where Carolina wins the first 2 games at home, dominate each game, and go to Boston, get the early lead, and then give up the shorthanded goal. I believe that was Charlie Coyle. And that not only changed the game, but changed the series. Carolina didn't win a game on road ice after that. It was just like they gave Boston life. They took advantage of it. Carolina wasn't the same on the road after that. They didn't win a game on the road against the Rangers either. We can go back, and if you wanted to watch those games, you'd realize Carolina wasn't bad on the road at all. You just didn't win any of those games. But that was a series against Boston Carolina probably should have swept. They were that much better than the Bruins, and it ended up going 7 games. Then, of course, we had the Max Domi game where, the only thing he ever did for Carolina was essentially win Game 7 at home against Boston. But that shorthanded goal completely changed the game. So there's that. It was the goalie interference. Always tricky. The one thing that this head coach has never gotten right, because honestly, in most cases, it's a guess. The one thing that Rod Brindamore has never gotten right is goalie interference. So initially, when I saw the play, I'm like, well, this is a risk. Just knowing the history, I don't anticipate the Canes winning this. Then you see McKinnon does interfere. There is no question that McKinnon's leg hits Martin's pad, and it definitely impedes him. But Andrei Svechnikov it wasn't a shove, it wasn't a ton of contact, but he did turn McKinnon into Martin. So once I saw that, I'm like, yeah, they're not taking that goal away. It's just because it looks like McKinnon is, while not pushed, kind of steered into Martin. So I would have loved to see Carolina win that challenge. I don't even think it was 50-50 once you see all the evidence. And then you put yourself down a man, which, Carolina's penalty kill was good. But then Jalen Chatfield gets the high sticking call. Now it's 5-on-3. And while Colorado didn't score on the 5-on-3, they scored about 6 seconds after the 5-on-3 expired. So you were still stuck in the zone. The whole thing was a mess. And now you're down 5-3. But the truth of the matter is, I thought that it was properly adjudicated on the ice, that it's a good goal. I didn't think it was goaltender interference. All right, now I said I wanted to talk about the delay of game puck over glass. So based on how the league works, 0 issues with what the officials did. I know I heard Tripp lobbying for make the call and let Toronto deal with it. They certainly could have done that. Maybe that would have been the right way to do it. But what's really the right way to do it is to simply allow officials to go to the monitor and determine whether or not it was delay of game puck over glass. So, I don't understand if replay is part of the game, and I am not going to advocate for it the way Rod advocates for it. I don't think it should be used for everything, right? He might not be wrong. I'm just fundamentally opposed to Zapruder filming every sport we ever watch or play. But if you're going to have replay as part of the game, well, then use it right. Use it to the game's benefit, not to its detriment. I mean, or if you're going to use it, let's use it. And to me, in that situation, that's an easy one. We go to the monitor. The guy knocked it over the glass with his arm. I think it was Raanta. Was it him that knocked it over? I think it was. Doesn't matter. He knocks it over with his arm, and then you could determine when you look at it, was he trying to do something with the puck? Because I think he was trying to bat the puck. He definitely kind of lunged at it with his elbow, with his forearm, and doesn't make a difference what his intent was. Nobody who gets called for a delay of game puck over glass is intentionally trying to hit the puck out of play. He's trying to bat the puck. So it goes over the glass. That's a penalty. And because the league doesn't do it that way, because the league only uses the replay to challenge the call, it's just backwards. It just doesn't make any sense. So, yeah, Tripp's right. Make the call, sort of like the offside that they called on Necas, where, is he offside? I think he probably was, but if you let the play go and a goal is scored, Colorado can always challenge the goal for offside if they want, and then you could determine whether or not he was offside. I don't think to me, he didn't have control of the puck, even though it was near him. He didn't have control of the puck when he crossed the blue line. He was sort of gaining control of the puck as he crossed the blue line, and I think those two things are different. Either way, if you let the play go, you can always adjudicate it later, but you shouldn't have to do that. So if we're going to have replay, if it's going to be expanded for things like delay of game puck over glass, then we should just let the replay decide what it is. The officials aren't going to be embarrassed because they missed that call. It was a freak. Anyway, with all of that said, Jordan Martinook, third straight game with a goal, 4 goals, 1 assist. He's got 5 points in the 3-game streak. Necas, 9th straight with a goal, 8 multi-point games on the season. It's just 8. We've played 13. He's got 8 multi-point games. Canes are now 10, 3, and 0. Rangers won tonight, so Carolina falls a point behind New York, if my memory is good, in the division. Just incredible. They're off to a great start. As losses go, at least this was a fun, entertaining game. And that's really all you can ask for. Anyway, since you're going to devote 2.5 or so hours to watching it. Oh, and then joining us here on the Canes Corner podcast, which is available wherever you get your podcast. I thank you very much for liking and subscribing and rating and reviewing and all of that, because, it makes us feel good. Right? I mean, whatever. Anything else? Let me see if I can go. Matthew, to be honest, we needed a reality check game anyway to see how we can handle more adversity, and clearly it showed we have more to work on. I don't know what the reality check part of it is, but you're not going to win every game. And Colorado wasn't whatever their record was, 6-8 or whatever the 4. I don't know what their record was going in. Again, I didn't really work the game, so I didn't like stack research getting into it. But Colorado had gotten off to a tough start. A lot of that was injury related. So that's a team that is a Stanley Cup contender. when it's all said and done, they might be the best team in the West. Goaltending was really bad to start. Goaltending was not a problem for them tonight. And you've got two of the best players on the earth in Makar and McKinnon. And honestly, Nathan McKinnon just would not be denied tonight. Mikko Rantanen looked normal. McKinnon looked like a superhero. It was like Deadpool. So I'm not put off by what I saw tonight. Bowl cut. I know the Canes scored on the power play, but compared to last year, it's not nearly as dangerous. They should switch the spots of Aho and Necas. Now, I want Necas to stay where he is on the left side of the ice. Aho is at times getting used to where Aho is right now is where Teravainen was last year. I think he has to get used to that as well. But I just think the unit has gotten a little stale. They're not moving the puck as quickly as they have. And that's what they need. They need to move the puck a little bit more quickly. Svechnikov isn't necessarily where he normally has been in the past too. I like to see Svech and Aho have spent time in the bumper. We haven't seen a lot of that. But I'm not going to argue with the power play success, even though they've gone before this goal tonight. And it was power play goal, but the power play was trash going in right up until the goal. It's operating at about 25%. That's fine. The Hurricanes, by the end of the season, probably will have, they'll be one of the best penalty kill teams in the league. And I think they'll be good enough on the power play. I'm not really concerned about it. Where I will be concerned is if they can't, get one if they can't be 20% in the playoffs. I think that's what you need. I'm flat out serious about this. I think power play percentage for most of the year, but certainly in the playoffs, is overrated. I think if you can go 1 out of every 5, if your power play can operate around 20% in the playoffs, that is more than good enough. You'll get enough opportunities. Goals are harder to come by. You don't have to light up the world on the power play. Where you have to be better is on the penalty kill. Series against the Rangers penalty kill beat Carolina in the first couple of games. And to me, that was the difference, in those games. But that it wasn't because Carolina struggled on the power play. I'm positive of it. We all know why Carolina lost to the Rangers in that series anyway. But not going to complain about tonight. Travel issues, all of that. They didn't leave until this morning. So routine is all messed up. Then you're at altitude. You don't even have a night to kind of get acclimated to it, get right into it. And it was a fun game. All right, we'll do this again after Vegas. Very, 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 very late, or very, very, very early Tuesday morning. Brought to you by the Aluminum Company of North Carolina. If it's for the exterior of your home, you can find it at the Aluminum Company of North Carolina on Hamlin Road in Durham. No place like it. Sammy Hanna and his crew do a great job. You should call them for all of your exterior home improvement needs. And until Monday night, I am Adam Gold. Thank you very much for hanging out, and we will see you next time.